Okay, pushing now into questions 10. So in birds, the sex chromosomes of males are of equal length and are referred to as ZZ chromosomes. So we look at the males being ZZ, therefore the female birds have sex chromosomes on unequal length that are referred to as the ZW chromosome. So we know we're looking in terms of the sex chromosomes. A gene for head feather colour in a bird is found on the Z chromosome. So make note that it's on the W chromosome. Herefore, W chromosome does not contain a copy of this gene. I'm just going to underscore that just to make sure I know that. We know that here, which is a really important piece of information, that red head feathers are actually dominant to black head feathers. So let's put this in a different colour just because we can. There we go. So if we know this, we go through this and it says a cross between a heterozygous male with red feathers and a female with black head feathers was carried out. So we know it's heterozygous male with red head feathers and a female with black head feathers, and we look through. So we predict the resulting offspring, show all working, including genotypes of parents, genotypes and phenotypes of offspring, and ratios where are appropriate. So let's crack in. First and foremost, let's look at what the genotypes of the parents are. And we know that we have a heterozygous male with red head feathers. We know that red head feathers is dominant, if you will, to black head feathers. Therefore, we will have a bigger, littler. Note that is obviously sex chromosomes, not autosomes. So we must put in those sex chromosomes Z with a big R and a little r for the male. And for the female, we know it's ZW because that's exactly what we've stated in the question. But we know it's black head feathers, and it only occurs on the Z chromosome, sex chromosome. Therefore, we write a little r as I've done before. So if we've done this, we actually carry out this particular cross. And I've just put in my monohybrid cross here, and we look at this being Z little r W, which is the female, and obviously male double Z, and we look at big R little r. We actually do this cross, and as you can see, we've found these particular genotypes, obviously just the multiplication of these two. So obviously the cross between Z big R and Z little r results in Z big R, Z little r, and so on. And so what we actually find from this is we have a 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 genotypic ratio, which is given by 1 big Z, one Z, big R, Z little r, and so on, because that's just going to be pointless me continually saying that because I will definitely make a mistake. And so when we kick on and we look at what the phenotypic ratio of it is, and remember that this phenotype is actually looking at male and female as well. So what we look at this first particular one is we clearly have a male, and we know that obviously red head feathers is dominant to black head feathers. Therefore, we have a 1 red head feather male. We look at the second male, and we know that it's obviously looking at black because it's recessive. Therefore, 1 black head feather male as well. And we know that this pattern is going to repeat. We therefore have 1 red head feather female, which is indicative of that genotype. And then we have 1 black head feather female, which is indicative of that particular genotype. And so that's the phenotypic ratio. So we push on into the second part of that particular question, which is 10. And the gene for the colour of the breast feathers is the same birds is found on the autosome. So it's on autosomes, no longer sex chromosomes. There are 3 alleles for this gene, and we have the 3, which is purple, lilac, and white. So we first know here that white breast feathers are recessive to both purple and lilac breast feathers. So in terms of the hierarchy, if we're going to label these 1, 2, and 3, it looks like white is number 3. Then we look at purple breast feathers, which are dominant to lilac breast feathers. And so purple breast, that's number 1. This is number 2. And so we found our hierarchy. The following cross was carried out. We know the phenotypes are a male with purple breast feathers crossed with a female with lilac breast feathers, and we're given the relative genotypes. So what it wants us to do is predict the resulting offspring, and we want to look at genotypes and phenotypes and the ratios where are appropriate. So if we look at this, we clearly see that we're crossing between these two individuals. We find these, which is big B, little b with a 1, little b with a 1, little b, big B, little b, little b, little b. And so what I've extracted is a 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 genotypic ratio, but then obviously we want to look at the phenotypic ratio of the offspring, and this is clearly of the offspring, which we can just label F1. And so we know from here, we go through that this looks like it's going to be purple because we know purple is dominant to both lilac and white. So we've got a purple over here and also a purple there. And therefore we have 2 purple breasted feathers. The next one we have, if we put it in a different color, is this, which is lilac, because we know lilac is actually dominant to white. And so therefore we have 1 lilac breasted feather. And if we go for the last one, we know we've got this, which is little b, which must be one white breast feather, and that ties it all together because we know that we have the resulting offspring within that phenotypic ratio.